It does not matter whether you sell on Amazon, eBay, Shopify, Etsy, or any other online marketplace. You're going to have to use some sort of logistical service at some point. And today I'm going to explain to you exactly what you need to understand about 3PL, as well as 1, 2, 4, and 5PL. You need a way to get your goods from your supplier, a place to store your inventory, and then a method to deliver your goods all the way to your buyers. You get all of those services in a 3PL. Today, I'm gonna answer the 6 most common and important questions we've been getting about third-party logistics. Question number 1, why do I need a 3PL? Well, Amazon has instituted this new FBA inventory limit. Many of you, I'm sure, already know about it, and we broke that down right here in this video. But let me give you a quick overview. Here's how fulfillment by Amazon FBA used to work back in the day. You order 2,000 units of your product from China. You enlist the help of a freight forwarder to ship that product straight from the manufacturer into Amazon's hands. Amazon keeps all of your product in their fulfillment centers, and then Amazon delivers directly to the customer when you get an order. You never have to touch your product. You passively earn income, and you end up richer at the end of a vacation than when you left. That is the beauty of Amazon FBA. Now, some of you Shopify, eBay, or other online sellers must be thinking, wow, this sounds awesome. It really is. Shopify has come out with their own fulfillment centers as competition to Amazon, which I think is awesome, by the way. Most of the Amazon FBA process I just outlined is still the same, but there is a challenge thrown in. Amazon is limiting how many products you can send in one batch to their fulfillment center. In fact, if you have a new listing, and especially if it's a new store, your limit is 200 units at a time. You can only send in 200. And if you negotiate great prices, let's say on a 3,000 unit order with your supplier, what on earth are you going to do with the remaining 2,800 units? Based on your Inventory Performance Index, also known as IPI, your maximum FBA inventory level may be as low as 200 units even after your first order. And there is one solution. You enlist the help of a 3PL, also known as a third-party logistics service. So here comes the question. What is a 3PL? When you enlist the help of a 3PL service company, you are outsourcing your warehousing, your distribution, and/or your fulfillment services. Now, if you think that sounds like fulfillment by Amazon, you're not wrong. Technically, Amazon is acting like a 3PL for you instead of you having to call USPS and get them to ship the product, or as silly as it sounds, you run over to the customer with the package and say, here you go. However, Amazon customers will often specifically look for products that say Prime. They will filter their product research by Prime, which means Amazon's going to fulfill that order and they're going to deliver it within 2 days. Shoppers are more likely to purchase FBA, in other words, fulfilled by Prime products, not only because they can get 2-day shipping on those items, but because that Prime badge makes the seller feel more legitimate. It increases trust, which in turn increases conversion. But if you're not selling Amazon FBA, either because it cuts too much into your bottom line, or if you sell off of Amazon on another platform, that is where 3PL can take a lot of FBA's place. Now, using a 3PL won't necessarily earn you more sales, but a 3PL still makes it possible to optimize and scale your online business because you cannot spend all day fulfilling all those orders yourself. For Amazon sellers who choose FBM or fulfilled by merchant, 3PL makes scaling plausible. For example, there are some Amazon sellers who are selling furniture, and they have found that because the furniture is so big and so bulky and heavy, that the storage costs cut too much into their profits. So they realize by fulfilling this themselves, in other words, using a 3PL, they make a lot more money selling on Amazon. Once you sell 30, 100, or even 500 products a day or more, it is way too much for you to pack, label, and sell everything on your own. So don't let the lack of ability to ship hold your sales back. That's where you can enlist FBA or 3PL to help. Now, you might be thinking, I only expect to sell 10 products a day. Think big, and you will go big. And that brings us to our next question. What does a 3PL do, and what are the advantages of using a 3PL? For most Amazon sellers, the most relevant tasks that 3PLs do for you include receiving parcels, pallets, or cartons, storing your units in a safe environment, prepping and shipping boxes or pallets to Amazon fulfillment centers, providing FBM services, accepting removal orders and returns for inspection, and freight forwarding. So what does this amount to? First, using a 3PL can save you money. If you're thinking about Amazon FBM or otherwise fulfilling orders yourself, there are a ton of factors to consider. There's storage, you got to pay for that. There's shipping, got to pay for that. There's inventory management software, you got to pay for that. There's ground transportation and more. But it's not just stuff you pay for. If you're doing that yourself, it is going to cut time out of your day, and ultimately that will cost you money. The more time you get back to focus on your business, the more money you can make. Because when you have good margins and you hire a service to take care of a part of your business for you, that frees you to focus on product research, marketing, and other things that you don't want to hire out for. And in the end, you actually become richer. So why hire 3 or 4 different services or even hire your own employees, which can get really expensive, when you can hire one service to do it all for you? 3PL services are already trained professionals. They understand your supply chain, top to bottom, and they can help you optimize your operations. Second, you save time, and 3PLs give you expertise in shipping logistics. 3PLs already have experience with shipping labels, proper packaging, customs, tariffs, regulations. You only have to give them information from your Amazon Seller Central account or from another marketplace facilitator like Shopify or BigCommerce, and the 3PL will take care of the rest. Even better, you can give them sub-user access to your Amazon account, so they go in and they take care of the products for you. In other words, they ship them out to the customers on your behalf from your Seller Central account instead of you having to constantly transfer all the information over to them. And the good thing is you can still limit what they have access to and don't have access to. Your job needs to be focused on building your brand experience, not shipping. It's kind of the difference between working in your business and on your business. When you have the margin to work on your business will grow. But that requires understanding operations and logistics and getting the help you need so it can run like an well-oiled machine. Pro tip, spend your time where you make the biggest impact, and then delegate all the other responsibilities to experts as much as possible. And don't be afraid of hiring people smarter than you if you want your business to grow. Remove the ego and have the confidence and emotional security to hire brilliant people, pay them well, and watch your company take off. If there's a problem with shipping delays, a 3PL company already knows how to make alternate arrangements. 3PLs also are masters of efficiency. They live for this stuff, like they're total nerds when it comes to logistics. If your customers require overnight shipping, for example, 3PLs, they can make it happen. And their efficiency also makes Amazon Seller Fulfilled Prime plausible. This is where you, as the seller, have Prime, even though it's FBM. If you're selling long enough and well enough and Amazon trusts you, they give you this option where you yourself can offer 2-day, sometimes 1-day shipping, FBM, not using Amazon's fulfillment, but a 3PL. Well, if you have a great 3PL, you can do this, and that also is going to increase the conversion of your listing on Amazon. Third, you make your operations flexible and scalable. If you sell a seasonal product that fluctuates in demand, managing your Amazon Inventory Performance Index, your IPI, is way less straightforward than if you sell a product that's selling consistently year-round. By the way, we did a whole video breakdown of how to improve your IPI score right here. Go check that out after you watch this video. When you use a 3PL, you can easily scale your operations up when your product sells well and down when the dry periods come. Additionally, when you enlist an international 3PL service, it allows you to test your products and sell in brand new markets without having to commit to buying warehouses or hiring staff. You can just test it. Let's say, for example, I want to sell my product in Russia. No problem. With a 3PL that has international ability, you can test the market using a 3PL. Realize this, in online selling, the biggest challenge, the real true biggest challenge, ends up being logistics unless you have a great 3PL service or fulfillment by Amazon. That's why 3PLs are so helpful. Because if you don't have the logistics, there's no way to get the product to that happy customer in Russia. Now, granted, 3PL companies don't all offer the same services. Some offer less, some more. In fact, when a logistics company offers an elevated level of service, it becomes known as a 4PL. Did you know that there was such a thing as a 4PL? This is going to get crazy. Just watch. What is the difference between a 3PL and a 4PL and a 5PL? Oh, by the way, and a 1 and a 2PL. Yes, they exist as well. To distinguish between a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5PL, you have to understand the degrees of separation between the seller and the supply. First, a 1PL is when a seller or company handles their own fulfillment logistics. Here's an example of a first-party logistics would be like a farmer. He's storing and transporting peaches to the farmer's market themselves. Please don't even consider 1PL if you're selling on Amazon. Like seriously, it's insane. Someone buys in Ohio, you live in California, so you're gonna drive the product in your car to that customer? That's how they did it back in the day, before we had all these shipping services. Even back when they had horses, horses would carry the products to the customers. Second, a 2PL is when a delivery company ships a product from the seller to the consumer or the reseller. The service that separates a 1PL from a 2PL is delivery. An example of a second-party logistics is when an Etsy seller utilizes USPS to ship their crochet strawberries to the buyer. So a delivery service like USPS or UPS or FedEx, those are 2PLs. 2PLs are also sometimes called transportation-based 3PLs. I'm just throwing that in there so you know. Number 3, a 3PL is when a logistics company receives and stores a product from a seller and then they fulfill the order on behalf of the seller. So the service that separates a 2PL from a 3PL are packaging and warehousing. An example of a third-party logistics is when, let's say, an Amazon seller utilizes a logistics company to not just ship, but store their inventory and also ship their inventory when a customer buys. Another example of a 3PL is a company who ships products from a factory in China to a warehouse in the US. They package and label those products for Amazon FBA, and then they ship them into the Amazon fulfillment centers. Now, a 3PL will likely enlist the services of a 2PL, because we're all kind of friends, such as USPS for delivery. So when we talk about 3PLs, we most often mean standard 3PL providers, or service provider 3PLs, or full service 3PLs. I know it's insane. Like there's so many different terms. It's crazy. That's why we're doing this video to help you out. Some 3PLs perform freight forwarding as well. Number 4, a 4PL is a fourth-party logistics company that manages 3PLs. Yes, a logistics company manages other logistics companies for you. Don't you love Inception? The service that separates a 3PL and a 4PL is logistics on behalf of the seller. Now, by logistics, we mean detailed operations for moving the product. Have you ever wondered what logistics means? It doesn't technically mean shipping. It doesn't technically mean customs. It doesn't technically mean packaging and product labeling. It's about moving the product, the operations necessary to get the product from one place to another place. That's what we're talking about. So a fourth-party logistics company takes over the supply chain operations directly after production. It is another level of convenience for the seller and another degree of separation between the seller and the supply line. Now, this often involves freight forwarding. The 4PL acts as a manager of the 3PL services. Find the 3PL company for you, and they make sure everything happens the way you need it without you ever having to talk directly to the 3PL. This saves you time from having to go into extraneous detail with the 3PL provider, and instead you just have one contact, your 4PL provider, to handle it for you. This is especially beneficial to companies with huge logistical needs. So the line between a 3PL and a 4PL often gets blurry because 4PLs are sometimes called customer adapter 3PLs or lead logistics providers or LLPs for short. Don't you love it? The easiest way to distinguish between a 3 and a 4PL is that a 4PL does not actually own transportation vehicles or warehouses. The 3PLs do. Fifth, a fifth-party logistics company manages the supply chain from raw materials to production, to storage, to delivery to the customer. We're talking the whole thing. It's almost like you got a sourcing agent, a trading company, a logistics company, a freight forwarding company, a packaging company, a labeling company. All of it together in one. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a 5PL. Like, it's really not just talking about shipping now and getting it to the customer and packaging and labeling. We're including managing the product, the production, getting all the raw materials ready to go all the way into the customer or reseller's hands. So the service that separates a 4PL and a 5PL is production management. In this case, a company would not only oversee storage, delivery, and logistics, but they also manage the suppliers. For example, you sell a ceramic mug. The 5PL would start their oversight with the production of the mug by the manufacturer, making sure they're using the correct ceramic or new bone china. What's really interesting is trading companies also coordinate raw material suppliers and goods production, but you see a 5PL starts at the beginning and takes it all the way to the customer or reseller. 5PLs actually do the job of a 4PL provider plus production management, almost like a trading sourcing company and a 4PL provider merged into a brand new service. Oh, and by the way, 5PLs are also called customer developer 3PLs. Finally, the most important question, does your company need a 3PL, a 4PL, or a 5PL? For most e-commerce sellers, a standard 3PL service is all that you need. What should ultimately impact your decision is which service is going to make you the most profitable, serving your customers the best. And those are very tied in as one. So what are the cons of using a 3PL provider? There are some disadvantages. First of all, when you enlist 3PL services, you have less direct control over the delivery process. You are trusting this company to do a badass job for you. Now, perhaps you'd prefer to use United States Postal Service or UPS tracking instead. For low volume and handicraft sellers who maybe do 10 sales a day, using a 2PL actually makes more sense. For 4PLs and 5PLs, the degree of separation is even greater than a 3PL. The 3PL will not directly interact with your customers or handle customer service like Amazon FBA will. That responsibility is still yours. So keep that in mind. If you pick 3PL over FBA, there's still a little more work you got to do that FBA otherwise would have handled for you. Amazon sellers, we always suggest you utilize Fulfillment by Amazon when it makes sense for your bottom line. You also do not have to choose between exclusively using FBA or a 3PL provider. Sometimes 3PLs come with a large upfront investment or a monthly minimum spend. However, 3PLs can more than pay for themselves in the long run if you have the right profit margins and you know the numbers for your business. We here at Just One Dime always suggest long-term thinking and encourage you to believe that you can and will scale your business. And then once you believe that, it's so easy for the brain to go act on that and plan accordingly. So what should you be looking for in a 3PL facility? There are a lot offered, and at the end of this, I'm gonna recommend some, but let me just tell you some things you need to know that are important. Number one, the 3PL should have warehouses where you need to operate. If the 3PL isn't in a location close to where you want to sell, your costs are gonna go up greatly. That's that much farther they have to ship. Look, if I'm in California and I'm shipping to the East Coast, there is a difference in cost than if I'm in California shipping to Washington. For example, if your customer base is in the US, then hire the services of a US-based 3PL. Or if you're doing arbitrage or wholesale, your profits will be significantly higher if you're using a 3PL in a no sales tax state like Oregon, like some of you guys like to say. Every time you ship a product to their warehouse, there is a no due sales tax. Number two, ensure your 3PL has high quality warehouses. Now, what's a high quality warehouse, Seth? Temperature regulated, 24-hour security, fully staffed, regular drop off and pickups with companies like UPS, FedEx, USPS. Able to receive cartons, able to receive pallets, able to receive individual parcels. Number three, your 3PL needs to be able to handle your business volume. Some 3PLs will only be cost effective for high volume businesses. Others are more flexible. So you have to pick the one that suits your needs and double check that they are fully equipped to deliver 50 units per day if you sell 50 units per day. Number four, make sure your 3PL provides references and exceptional past performance reports. Most great 3PLs will be happy to share a 1 to 2 year track record of customers that they have helped and be happy to share with you references for people who call in and say, look, I'm interested, but I need to know you do a good job. You should be able to examine the 3PL's ratio of on-time versus delayed deliveries. how well they communicate with clients, and whether they have long-standing relationships with sellers or if they start losing every client within a year or so. Number 5, make sure your 3PL uses compatible software. A lot of Amazon sellers don't think about this, but you got to think about it. Make sure your 3PL can integrate with whatever inventory management system you're using. And if you don't use any yet, well, choose one, a 3PL, that is on the cutting edge of technology rather than one that still uses Windows XP. Shopify sellers, I want to talk to you for a second. Make sure the 3PL integrates directly with your Shopify store through an API or an approved application. It will save you a ton of hassle. Number 6, your 3PL should be able to process returns. Now, this is one of the largest headaches for people who use 3PLs. But if your 3PL can handle seamless returns, then that's one less thing to worry about. Like if you need to do a removal order on one of your Amazon products, you need a place to ship it to within the same country where you are selling it. Listen, if you are located in the UK and you're selling on Amazon.com, you got a problem, because if you need to do a removal order where the products are removed from Amazon's fulfillment center, Amazon send them to the United Kingdom. They have to be sent somewhere in the US. That's why having a 3PL in the US can be a total lifesaver. Number 7, Amazon sellers, you will have a better experience if your 3PL is run by experienced Amazon sellers. Make sure your 3PL services include FBA prep and shipability, and they also can fulfill orders FBM if needed. You may also want to consider 3PLs that have long operating hours, including weekends and holidays, especially since that's when you might get a lot more sales. Now, the question keeps coming up, does Just One Dime know of any good 3PLs? As a matter of fact, gentlemen and ladies, we do. I would like to recommend former Just One Dime student and current coach Eric Abbey, who runs AP Prep Services. Just for the record, he's not an affiliate. I'm not getting paid for this. I'm sharing this because what the guy does is awesome. Eric Abbey, extremely successful Amazon seller. He used his Amazon sales that he learned from us, which I'm very proud to say, to buy his family a brand new house. Look him up and ask him. We trained him. He applied the training, and today he is wealthy. He fired his boss. He now gets to serve at his church without having to take a salary from them because they're based on donations, and he's getting to do what he loves with the people he loves. They receive your units, catalog them, and store your products with 24-hour security. When you are ready, they prepare your pallets and ship them to Amazon fulfillment centers. To get started, click on the link below. But if you're looking for other well-known 3PLs and 4PLs, consider ShipBob, CH Robinson, XPO Logistics, Easy Post, Rakuten Super Logistics, Red Stag Fulfillment. That's actually a cool name too. Verde Fulfillment, Fulfilled with a Y, and E-Fulfillment Services. Is there anything we can help you with concerning 3PLs? It's a simple question. Give me your answer below. How can we help you, my friends? By the way, if you like this video, if you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, a thumbs up, and ask the question below. We'll talk to you soon. You have an awesome day.